Hey guys, it's Scott here, and I'm back with my co-host Trey. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the Week 5 matchup between Kentucky versus Ole Miss. We're going to give our thoughts, insights on the game, and at the end, who we like in the football game.
What's up, everybody? Trey here. We've got a SEC matchup: Kentucky at Ole Miss. It's gonna be a really good game, and I'm really excited to watch it.
Both teams are ranked in the top 25, and for the matchup predictor, it's got Ole Miss favored by 78%. The spread for the game is Ole Miss is favored by 6.5. Kentucky's definitely the underdog. Over under is 55.5. There is some big headlines for this game. Ole Miss has a 12-game home winning streak going for them, but Kentucky returns a key player themselves this week.
Yeah, they returned Chris Rodriguez. Don't know if he's going to start or if he's going to come off the bench, but Chris Rodriguez is back. He's cleared to play, and he will be available for this game.
What I don't know for the matchup predictors, if this includes the running back coming back, I'm pretty sure the stats are taking into consideration out of being there. So, this could probably maybe even jump to more of a 50-50 football game with Rodriguez coming back. And what do you think about the way Kentucky's played to start out the season?
Their last 4 games, they've won. Well, their last 5, they've won all of them. But this year they've had 4 games. They've won all 4 of them, but they haven't looked great doing it all year. I mean, even against Youngstown State, they won 31-0. But there was times where you looked at the game and you were like, "What is Kentucky doing? Why are they not blowing this team out?" They got a good win at Florida. They won 26-16, but that same Florida team went and played USF the next week and won by 3. So you're starting to question whether Kentucky is really that good or if Florida just wasn't ready or whatever. I mean, they struggled against Miami of Ohio. They ended up winning pretty handily, but even in that game they looked kind of shaky. And then last week they played Northern Illinois and they won by 8 at home. Kentucky's just a little sloppy. It looks like.
Well, Kentucky's been battling offensive line issues all season long. If you go back to our Florida Kentucky preview from week one, we talked about Kentucky and their offensive line, so that's definitely been an Achilles heel. Maybe getting Rodriguez back at running back. He loves to turn it up, run north and south. Maybe he'll help shield some of the issues that the offensive line has. But I know it's going to take time for that line to start gelling together. And how do you think about the way Ole Miss has played so far this year?
I mean, not as much as Kentucky, but they did struggle last week. They ended up winning by 8 against Tulsa. The week before, played really good against Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech might be a really, really bad team. They beat whoever that is. Who even is that? I don't
I'm
even know who
not
that
sure.
is. Anyways, they beat that team 59-3. They handled business like they should have. They beat Troy first week of the season. They didn't look too great doing that either, but they looked a little bit better. And it's at home. Like I said, they have a 12-game home winning streak. So I think it's gonna be a really good game. But I like Ole Miss playing a little bit better as we stand right now.
I think other than that Tulsa game, they beat the first three teams the way you want to see them go about their business. Maybe against Troy, they could have put up, played a little bit better in that football game. But certainly, the two other games they won what they're supposed to. So you can only knock them. You can't knock them what they've done so far. Like they've won football games. This will be their first real test of the year.
Yeah, both teams
And
are 4-0, so you can't knock that.
and it's no secret how Ole Miss likes to move the football down the field.
No, no, it is not a secret. They like to run the ball, and they like to run the ball a lot. They got a two-headed monster back there in the backfield with Judkins and Evans. Evans a transfer from TCU, and I liked him at TCU. He just had injury issues. He couldn't really stay on the field, but when he's on the field, he is a monster.
He was one of the top running back recruits in his class. He's a 5-star player that came over,
Yeah, and
and
he was one of the top running backs in the transfer portal too.
and Juckins is opposite. He's the under the radar 3-star come out of Alabama's backyard.
Yeah, that was a surprise. 3-star running back from Alabama goes to Ole Miss, and he is tearing it up now.
And Kentucky likes to move the ball almost the exact opposite. They move it through the air so
Well,
far
I think
this
a
year.
lot of that's got to do with Rodriguez being out too. That is their top back. They Smoke it. There's no question about it. Smoke is a decent running back, but he's not their running back one. Rodriguez is their running back one, and I would be shocked to see that number 81.5 stay that with Rodriguez in the game. I think that's going to be close to 150 or more towards the end of the season.
Do you think maybe the return of Rodriguez can motivate the offensive line to start doing it, getting the extra added motivation to play a little bit better this week, knowing that their star player is coming back?
I, I don't know if it'll motivate them more, but I think he is more of a physical runner. I don't think it's going to, like I said, I don't think it's going to motivate the offensive line more. I think it's just going to make it easier for them because he's such a freak. He's hard to tackle. He's a physical running back. He's going to run through some tackles that maybe Smoke wouldn't. So he's going to get that extra 3-4 yards, make the line look a little better. I think he is the reason that made them look better last year. I think he'll come back and I think he'll do that. They're still going to have issues, but he's going to mask some of it.
I think it'll take some of the pressure off Will Levis too. Is there's times he's kind of had to shoulder the load, and I think he's a decent quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback, and this will allow him to kind of settle back into being more of the game manager and not the actual one trying to push the football down the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've always been kind of harsh on Levis. Maybe shouldn't have been as harsh because he like you said he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's as elite as some people are saying he is already. But yeah, it'll definitely take some of the to take some of the load off of him. It'll make him get back into the flow of game instead of having to force it downfield. He's a running quarterback too, so he'll get involved in that a little bit more too. And Rodriguez will definitely take some of the pressure off of him.
And I think both teams are very well coached too. Mark Stoops very underrated. Bob Stoops' brother, and of course Lane Kiffin. Came over from Alabama, and he's just out of that Nick Saban tree of assistant coaches. And I think they both do really good jobs. They don't quite recruit the same talent like a Georgia and Alabama or even a Texas A&M is getting now, but I think they make really good with what they got. And I look for both teams to progress and get even better as the season goes along.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing is with Ole Miss, that schedule at the end of the year, it is rough. They got like a 4 or 5 game stretch where they play, Alabama, Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State. They got a tough schedule at the end of the year, but I think both of them will continue to improve, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good game.
So who do you think wins the game? You got Ole Miss with the home winning streak. The game's in Ole Miss, of course. And you got Kentucky with their star running back returning. Who do you think winds up winning the football game?
My pick is gonna be Ole Miss. I think they win a close one at home. I'm not sold on Kentucky. If they win this game, I'll give them a little bit more of a nod. But as of right now, I don't think Chris Rodriguez is enough to overcome Ole Miss. I think they're going to get the win. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be 31-27.
I'm going to take Kentucky. I do think the football game is going to be close. I think the fact that Ole Miss likes to run the football kind of plays into some of Kentucky's strengths on defense, as they don't get up 108.3 rushing yards per game all season. Their linebacking core is very good for them, very solid everywhere. And I think the return of Rodriguez can certainly provide a spark for the offense. They've been inconsistent, but maybe him coming back will start to put some consistency back on the team, kind of getting that identity going forward. So I'm going to go with the upset. The line is 6.5. You could take the money line for 215 on Kentucky. So I'm going to go with Kentucky winning this football game, say 31-27.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
And that's all for this one, guys. Thanks for